Right now, somewhere in your city, someone hasn't worked a single hour this month. By the time it ends, they'll be richer than you. And you, the renter, are the reason why. Let's call her Maya. Maya didn't invent anything. She didn't build anything. She simply owns the apartment you might be sitting in right now. For many renters, this single monthly payment consumes 30, 40, sometimes half of their income. It is the bill that competes with food, with saving, and with every other asset you try to build. Ask anyone why rent is so expensive, and they usually point to supply and demand. You need a roof, someone owns the roof, so you pay them to live under it. A straightforward transaction. That explanation treats rent as money that is spent and immediately exhausted. It assumes your check goes entirely toward keeping the lights on and paying for today's maintenance and taxes. But track the money after it clears, and you find a very different mechanism at work. So where exactly does a single rent check actually go, dollar for dollar, once it leaves a tenant's bank account? Most rental properties aren't owned outright. They are financed. Maya bought her building by taking on debt. Every month, Maya has to pay her mortgage, but she isn't paying it with her own money. She uses her tenant's rent to cover both the bank's interest fees and the actual principal debt. This diagram of a single rent dollar shows exactly how that money splits. Because of how mortgages are structured, in year one, only about 14 cents of every dollar goes toward paying down the principal debt. But that ratio quietly accelerates over a 15-year timeline. As the years pass, the interest slice shrinks, and the tenant's money pays 20, 30, and eventually up to 40 cents on the dollar toward the principal. The tenant's identical monthly bill never changes. It just silently does more heavy lifting every single year, paying off larger and larger chunks of the landlord's loan. A rent check buys 30 days of temporary shelter for the tenant, while quietly purchasing the building's permanent bricks for the landlord's balance sheet. There is another force at work alongside the mortgage: appreciation. Real estate tends to rise in value reliably over a decade. A tenant pays the daily costs to keep the property running. But if a building bought for $300,000 becomes worth $400,000 10 years later, the landlord captures 100% of that generated market value. Then comes profit. Even after the mortgage, taxes, and maintenance are covered by the tenant, many landlords pocket leftover cash every month. It is easy to assume this entire financial machine is run by giant investment funds and Wall Street corporations. The reality is that institutional investors own roughly 2 to 3% of single-family rental homes nationwide. This wealth transfer is actually executed by millions of ordinary small landlords running the exact same math as Maya. This is not a conspiracy. It is an automated financial system designed generations ago that mathematically rewards asset ownership on a microscopic, everyday scale. To see the final outcome of this system, zoom out to a 10-year timeline. A renter paying $2,000 a month will spend $240,000 over a single decade. After spending nearly $250,000, that tenant walks away possessing zero equity. For the landlord, that identical $240,000 paid down a mortgage, captured a decade of market appreciation, and built tangible, inheritable wealth. We can track the macroeconomic scale of this dynamic using the most recent survey of consumer finances from the Federal Reserve. The numbers are stark. The median homeowner in America is now worth roughly $400,000. The median renter is worth about $10,400, a 40-to-1 wealth gap. While other economic factors play a role, this invisible daily mechanism, tenants paying off landlord mortgages, is a massive driver behind a chasm that has widened for 3 decades. The incentives run automatically. In 20 years, someone is going to own the building outright because of the rent paid today. The only question is whose name will be on the deed.